We're gonna get into Destiny real quick. So Destiny, he is one of those people. He doesn't hold back. He's a liberal, but he's also very intelligent. So I've been watching a lot of his content lately. I'm not gonna lie, I've been watching a lot of his content because I had no idea who this guy was until recently. And I see him sitting down with the likes of Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, politicians, Alex Jones. I'm like, yo, who is this guy who is just a gamer? And but he's sitting down with all the politicians and conspiracy theorists and big thought leaders of the world. So, but he has been on a run of breaking down red pill thoughts and breaking down guys like Myron from Fresh and Fit, Sneeko, and all these guys with kind of like talking points that even it's hard for them to kind of go back and forth with. So right now he's talking about the downfall of the red pill movement.
Do you think the red pill's dying? That's something that both of us have spent a little bit of time orbiting in one form or another, either you debating it or me getting a beat.
And first, if you don't know what the red pill movement is, the red pill movement, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what this red pill movement is at this point. Used to refer to process by which a person's perspectives are dramatically transformed, introducing them to a new and typical disturbing understanding of true nature of a particular situation. So yes, that was the red pill movement as a whole, where guys kind of got to learn the true nature of women. I have different points about this. Like, I think it could be a little bit extreme, but also could be very helpful to some dudes who have no idea about women, maybe digesting that content a little bit. But I noticed that the red pill movement makes dudes super far off to the right when they start to learn this stuff.
Used by it. What do you think's happening with the red pill at the moment?
Yeah, I think most stuff has like probably like a 2 to 4 year shelf life for internet content, and I think it kind of came and it kind of went. Andrew Tate and the pre-trial or pre-indictment imprisonment probably hurt a bit because it took away a lot of the publicity. I think that the nature of like the conversations for the red pill stuff, I think, was really bad. I think the content strategy from a lot of the
First, before I say that about Andrew Tate was one of the guys who literally said, fuck the red pill guys, fuck that movement, and even dissed a lot of the guys who were a part of that movement. So just clarifying that, he did go against a lot of those guys.
red pillars, I think, was very subpar.
How so?
Like, for me, the way that I've stayed fresh and relevant for 15 years of content creation is because I'm always finding like new stuff to talk about or a new angle to kind of like hit something from, or like I'm kind of moving on with contemporary events. I feel like for red pill stuff, I feel like I could have written the script for those shows after being on 2 of them, to where it's like, okay, guys, today we're going to talk about, does body count matter? Do guys value you for the amount of money that you make? Do women fuck over men in divorce? Are men lonely because they're simps? It was like the same topics for like over a year, such that it became like a meme where when I would show up on a show, some of my fans would do like bingo cards of like, okay, well, when is the body count question coming up?
Hypergamy.
Or yeah, are women hypergamous or not? And then it's like, and it's funny because like the questioning would always, there's a fallacy called all roads lead to Rome, I think. If there's not, there should be one. Where basically literally, no matter how somebody answers a question, it always goes back to what you want it to. So I might say to a girl, have you ever dated a guy? You say you don't care about guys at all. Have you ever dated a guy that's 5'5"? And the girl might be like, no, I haven't. Because you hate short guys, you know? You won't. And she's like, oh, no. Okay, have you ever dated a guy that's 5'5"? Yes, I have. Oh, when? When I was in high school, I actually dated a guy that's 5'5". Really? Are you together anymore with him? Well, no. Oh, you dumped him because he was a short king, right? Like, yeah. Or it's like, are you dating a guy that's 5'5"? He's like, yeah, I am now. It's like, oh, really? Is he rich? No, he's not that rich. Does he have a huge dick? Yeah, his dick is pretty big. Oh, hypergamous. You just want the pool boy. You're probably gonna, find a rich guy and stuff like. There's always Andrew Tate actually is the perfect example of the all roads lead to Rome. Okay, when Andrew Tate had the pre-trial imprisonment, there were never going to be charges because it was all a scam. It was just a sham kangaroo court. Now that there are charges, if there wouldn't have been charges and he would have been released with no charges, no indictment, it was because obviously it was a scam, right? But now that there are charges, well, obviously because it's a scam, of course they're going to make up charges. So now they're going to go to court, and if they go to court and they get, if they go to court and they beat the charges, it's because it was bullshit the whole time. But if they go to court and they're convicted, well, it's because it's bullshit the whole time. They were going to make it up always. So literally, no matter what happens, it's always because of your particular prediction of the world. So you end up with these prediction models that will predict every single event, which means they don't actually predict anything, but it allows you to escape the cognitive dissonance of your predictive model not being correct. So you don't have to worry if you've got a good view, like a good blueprint of the world, because literally, no matter what happens, you've always got a way to make sense of it in the future.
Well, this is why that 4-step process of when was the last time someone publicly admitted that they were wrong? When was the last time they surprised you? If someone came out and had a discussion about this and was like, do you know what it is? I actually think that a lot of the time I do actually see girls in relationships with guys that hypergamously I wouldn't predict that they were in a relationship with. That guy just seems to have game. It's not really about the fact that he's tall or fit or rich or has status or any of these things. He just seems to be like a really nice guy and she wants to have a family and he ends up being, you go, I wasn't expecting that. That was something that would have surprised me. You think, okay, well, that shows an evolution of talking points, but I don't know how many times. And this is why, I'm still fascinated in evolutionary psychology and intersexual and intersexual dynamics and all of that stuff. It's still very interesting to me. But the whole lambasting women for having standards that are too high, that never was something that really crossed my world of content creation. But even now it's like, okay, so what else is happening? How can here's an interesting angle. Here's a much more interesting angle for me for something that's contemporary and new. This skew of young girls to the left and this skew of young guys to the right. Given the fact that most people date within their political affiliation and because politics are becoming more important to each individual person now, that's interesting. That's like a new, okay, so what do we do? Where's this coming from and what does this mean? 30% of Democrat parents are afraid that their son or daughter would marry a Republican. That's interesting. So what about like parental pressure and how does that play into it? That's interesting. You can keep talking about the same thing, but do it with a different angle on it, continuing to just hammer away in the same points. I don't know. It's just fair play if you have that degree of patience, maybe, to be able to just have the same conversation 1,000 times, but I don't have that in my toolbox.
The description is boring, the descriptive part, because it's the same thing over and over again. And then the prescriptive part is boring because for a lot of these movements, people don't actually give you good advice to kind of navigate it sometimes unless you can become a top 1%er. Instead, what they try to prescribe is like a world that doesn't exist anymore. Like, this is no good because women have birth control, because women are, earning money and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, well, that's not changing. So you have to give advice for the world that exists now, not tell guys you have to become a top 1%er. You need to earn so much fucking money that the traditional girls or whatever will go back to liking you. It's never advice geared towards, well, how do you navigate the modern world where women don't need men as much, where women are looking for different things in relationships? How do you navigate that? It's just like, we need to go back to the days of old and everything is messed up now because of feminism and complaining and blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Okay, the Red Pill movement is an online community primarily of men who believe that men face disadvantages in society. It's based on a metaphor from the movie The Matrix. We're taking the red pill symbolizes seeing harsh truths about the world. Some focus on men's rights, while others express more extreme views of gender dynamics. But a few takeaways from this Destiny video, right? I definitely agree with the term that all roads lead to Rome, because sometimes it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't with these conversations. It's kind of like, well, if you got married to a dude who was regular, it's because he has this, or because you settled. It's like, it's never just like, I did it because I was happy. No, there's no such thing as being happy, because everybody wants something. You have to be hypergamous. You can't just be happy and just have a good life. No, he had to do this, his dad's, which whatever the case may be. There's always something literally with this stuff, and that's what kind of bothers me. But then another thing is like when he was talking about people in real life just getting together. Like, I believe there's a lot of people who've never even heard what the Red Pill movement is. I've heard of people who've made confessions like, yo, my boyfriend started watching this Red Pill stuff and now he's just out of control. Like, he was never like this before. Now he's just crazy. I don't know what the fuck to do about it. But I definitely think that a new person who watches that content will start to spiral out of control thinking, okay, now I got the game to go sleep with 10,000 girls. It really doesn't work like that. It never really works like that. Like if you want to have game, then just have game. I feel like there's people in regular life who are not struggling dating and don't need to take advice from any of these people who are doing just fine. And I believe that there's people out there who have regular, good, healthy relationships that are just fine. There's dudes out there waiting until they're 35 to get married. There's people who are getting married, happily married. In the 1940s, African Americans had the highest marriage rates. I don't think they're waiting until they were 35 to do so. I don't think that in order to be a high value man, you had to get a vasectomy to avoid having children. To me, that didn't make sense. What the fuck were we put on this planet for? To reproduce? We were born with genitals, born to carry seeds. Women had eggs. And now we're getting vasectomies to become high value men. But yes, I do understand, because from a red pill perspective, when you change the outlook on life because you see things because you see the harsh realities of life, well, hey, then why can't you just practice discipline? Why do you have to literally permanently remove what you were given when you came into this world instead of just practicing discipline? And that's the thing I believe that these guys should teach better. How do you be disciplined? So I think about it, like, if people are having struggle dating, like, there's crackheads out there, bro, that have girlfriends. There are dudes literally walking around with another girl, walking around with them being homeless together. And you telling me that because you're fucking 5, 6, you can't find a girlfriend when there's a crackhead with no teeth that has a girlfriend? Like you have to make 6 figures to find love? That's what it takes when there's literally a person who's homeless with mental health issues that has a relationship. Just the bad advice sometimes, man. Like the bad advice, just like the vasectomy thing, like Rollo Tomassi. And I'm a person that I read the Way of the Rational Man. I read that like when I was in damn near fresh out of college. Like I read that. And then to hear now like you're telling dudes to get vasectomies, like, okay, so like when I hear that, like what's the difference between what feminism did when they were telling women to be independent and not have children and go work and have money? Like what is the difference with what they're telling guys to do versus what they're telling women to do? Because at the end of the day, I thought that life was about reproducing. I thought life was about people, not about collecting as much money as possible and sleeping with as many women as you want to. But you guys will let me know your thoughts about that.